Alrighty, good morning everybody, or evening, depending on where you are. So it's morning here in New Zealand, and I've got my big old coffee. And I'm joined here this morning by the mythological consultant from Apotheon, Maciej. How's it going? So, do my usual question about whether the audio levels are working. Sounds like my voice is coming through.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit continue so we get it. Oh wait, actually no, I know what I needed to do. There was, I realized, something that I should have changed last time. I need to turn up the game volume a little bit, I think.
Okay.
Because I think last time it was a little bit unbalanced. And I'm gonna turn up that a little bit. So how does it sound to you all out there in internet land?
Oh, it looks fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
With so many gods on Olympus now, it's no wonder there isn't enough room for all of us.
I do like this little these little dialogue moments from just randos.
Yeah, like, we had a lot of fun sort of trying to imagine what these little gods and goddesses would say when you meet them, and they would be obviously very happy that, the war is going well and all that.
Yeah. So we're...
I remember that yesterday, I think you saw a dude who said that he's happy that people are no longer urinating in this river. Oh, right.
Yes, that one was very good. There's a serious considerations when you're a river god, I guess.
Yeah, like, respect my home, right?
Yeah. Alright, so we last time went down to Hades to meet Persephone at Demeter's request, and we went to Artemis and played a little game where we chased each other around the forest, and then we met douchebag Apollo, who I love. I mean, I love that he's portrayed as a douchebag. He's still a douchebag.
He was my favorite character to write, actually.
I really, really liked what you did there in terms of like the relationship between sort of Apollo as a little mini Zeus, like, and reflecting that sort of idea of mythology. It was very good. I liked it.
Yeah, actually, this was a big point of mine, sort of make him this sort of small boss before Zeus, because, well, one of the strands of my own research is to show that Apollo was supposed, in some different interpretations of mythology, to actually replace Zeus, and not for the lack of trying. He failed, but he was supposed to, and he did his hardest to do that. But obviously, the history or the mythology didn't go this way, but he still has this sort of jerk-ass top god, alpha male god quality about him, and really loved playing with that and showing that he is a rapist, that he is a really unpleasant person, and yet he puts on this veneer of being a cultured, wonderful god that everybody loves.
I think you did a really good job on that. I think it really comes through fantastically.
Thanks.
So here's like a game question. Is there a way to get just a map of the Agora? Oh wait, is that tab?
Yeah, like, well, I think somebody told me yesterday, and when you press tab, you should get to view the whole map.
That's right. So, I think what apparently we can visit. So Maciej was telling me we can visit the houses of Dionysus and Aphrodite before we get a mission to go there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and find where they are. Are they on this level? They're on this level, right?
Yeah, they should be on the upper levels, I think. Somewhere near the top.
Oop. Remember how to navigate.
Yeah.
I remember the okay, this looks very familiar. I think I've started fights here. That's the market. So we're still down low, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this one I can go up? Oh, yeah. I don't think this is the right one. No, it's not the right one. This one, though. Oh, here we go. So here's the vineyard of Dionysus. Let's go and meet probably one of my favorite Olympian gods.
Oh, everybody loves Dionysus.
Yeah. Oh, you got some more boogie people.
Yeah, like there is a party going on inside, so
Yeah.
here he is.
So for whatsoever things vex Demeter vex also Dionysus, for Dionysus shares the anger of Demeter. A little Callimachus quote there. I really liked the way that you integrated all of these. Was that something that was sort of like your suggestion, or how did that come about?
Well, this was something that we did at a very late stage of the game because, discussing this with the design team, with Jesse and Lee, they told me that for some reason the audiences found that this is a very mythological world, but it also felt kind of flat. Like, you couldn't have this textual link to the actual mythology, which is a tale. And that this world kind of lacked a sense of history. Like, there are stories connected with these characters, and that the player has to build their impressions of these characters on a set of very narrow associations they had from high school and so on. So we should embed this in the actual mythology to show people who are not so familiar that there are actually stories connected to these characters. And I tried to pick some very choice quotes that would show that these characters have mutual histories, like, some of them like each other, some of them don't like each other or really hate one another. And try to show that there is a bigger picture behind this, like, that actually, these gods can be said to have this sort of huge magical world they live in, and it has this depth, it has this immersion, and you can actually, as a player, be included into this.
Yeah, I really like that. It does a great job of, like, because this is a family, right? In a lot of ways, and a lot of the ways that their stories play out
it's a
are
big,
family
screwed
dramas.
up, dysfunctional family.
Yeah. So having that as, like, putting that kind of texture in there to explicitly show those relationships in a way that they might not necessarily have got in their high school myth class.
Yeah, like, because obviously, usually when you learn mythology in school, you only learn that this is the god of this and this is the god of that. And obviously, there's so much going on. Like, if you're lucky, you only get the base description. Like, you know that Hera and Zeus, they had an unhappy marriage, but this is basically it. And if you want to build a nice game that is really into the material, you have to just sort of throw them more bombs than that to show them that this has some depth to it.
Right. Alright, so can I...
Welcome to the party, my new friend. Ooh. You look like a robust fellow. How about a little drinking contest?
Alrighty, this couldn't go badly.
Fill your cup with my wine, drink and be merry. Let the joy of inebriation wash away the storm clouds of these troubled times. Drink to keep the dismal phantom of sobriety at bay. If you cannot keep pace with the thyasis of Dionysus, then you have no place within these halls.
Alright. Glug, glug, glug. Whee!
Yeah. And this is a timed challenge.
Oh no. Oh! Wow. I guess that means I should be strategic about which ones I drink from?
Yeah, like, it's good to sort of go around and see where the flasks of wine are placed so that you can go in the best direction.
Wow. Okay, so that's a... Wait, I'm outside. No, wait, I'm inside. Okay, so there's one there.
And you're out.
One up there, one here. This is quite tricky. So while I'm scouting out this level, do you want to talk a little bit about how you came to be, like, part of this project? What was the sort of background in all this? And that sort of
So
question
how
about
I
both
started
classics
to
and
work
games.
for the company, right?
What was that, sorry?
So you want me to tell how I started to work for Apotheon, or?
That, but also, like, what's your background in classics for those of you who are...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, basically I had a very convoluted road to classics because, my first BA was in English studies, but after that, I was always a lover of Greek mythology. These were some of my favorite tales, and especially loved Greek gods because, for me, there are these large-life superhero characters that have none of the morality of the traditional, not traditional but modern superheroes. Like they are definitely not Superman or Batman. They are nasty, selfish, and they are really good at being selfish. So there was some kind of transgressive, liberating quality to them, and I really love them. And eventually, this love sort of grew in me. I decided I have to go into classics and start learning about this, and this stayed with me to very this day. And I still love doing research on Greek gods to see how they come together, what are their powers, what are the limitations. As I told you, their mutual relationships, how they sort of limit one another.
Mm-hmm.
So this is wonderful for me. I'm really happy I get to do this.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I also really like classical reception, which is obviously wonderful because I get to do this game. But I also like different types of reception, like looking at what's going on in the TV series or, for instance, movies. I always enjoy to see how people continue to be fascinated by these characters and how they sort of try to make antiquity alive again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have only recently started to get into classical reception myself, particularly as reception has, or the field, I guess, has become more open to this kind of reception. Because I'm not so interested in what people in the 16th century were doing with classics, and a lot of sort of older reception works are more about, okay, here's this French playwright who wrote this version of this Greek play. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. It's not really my interest. But now that people are more into like film in classics and games in classics, it's far more of my bag. Is there an easier way to do
because
this?
I think that classical reception before was much more about the so-called highbrow culture, like the plays, the theater, the opera especially. And right now we have this democratization of reception, like you're actually interested in different forms of art. We're open to different approaches.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to put it, like a democratization of it. I'm so bad at these. Okay. So it seems to me this might be the best place to start with my drunken rampage through. But first, let's go that time-honored traditional activity of platformers, smash everything.
Yeah.
Did this was this ever a conversation amongst the design group about how smashing things in an archaeological context is really kind of bad, actually?
Yeah, we had, I think, we had this conversation, actually we would never be allowed to do this in a museum, but one of the designers told me that they found it very liberating to actually be allowed to be bad and sort of destroy the material culture, because that you're not allowed to, especially. But I think Marina on your last Twitch, she said that, well, obviously, there is something perverse about having a game that looks like it's supposed to be on a Greek vase, and you're smashing vases in game.
Yeah.
This is a really bad example to follow.
That's true.
At this moment, and maybe you're going to die sooner or later because you were smashing all these pots.
Yep.
So they're going to come back at you.
Well, I definitely had that in the first stream I did, where the highlight that I picked out on Twitch was me smashing things and then getting in trouble with all of the guard gods, and that did not go well.
Yeah.
The key for Apollo's nectar cellar. Extra spice to the product. All right. So there's a thing I can go back to. Okay,
yeah,
so
actually, I think you can.
What was that, sorry?
Apollo is no longer with us, so...
Oh, so I can't go back there now?
Yeah, you can, actually, because, well, we've vanquished Apollo, so it's our domain now.
I live there.
Yeah.
All right.
It's your house now.
So
we have a question. Is there a reason behind choosing Hera as the patron deity?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, when we started the game, we were... the initial version, which I wrote, had Thetis as Nicandrios' patron goddess. Because she has such a wonderful history, and actually, I'm still fascinated by Thetis and Achilles. And I thought that, well, she would make perfect sense to be included as a sort of character with was very angry at Zeus for a lot of bad things that happened in her life, and she was sort of to take revenge on Zeus by having another sort of protege to take on Olympus. But then, the first version of the story was sort of given to test audiences, and they told us, who is this lady? Like,
Huh.
we don't know. We thought we knew Greek mythology, but we've never heard about her. And then we thought, well, maybe not. Maybe she's just too obscure. And we thought, oh, well, we have Thetis, so let's go with somebody who's very similar and very well known. So obviously, it's going to be Hera, because everybody knows Hera and Hera. So that will be kind of the next best choice. But I kind of regret with not having Thetis, because I think she had a lot of potential. But this is the balancing act that is always at the heart of making a work of classical reception, that you have to be sort of faithful to the material, but you also have to be open and accommodating for your audiences who are going to play your game, because obviously it's for the enjoyment of the audiences, first and foremost.
I accidentally started it and then I didn't get there in time. Oh, I think I was misreading that map as well, actually. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess, yeah, Thetis is not really a character that you necessarily expect people to have a lot of interaction with. I feel like anytime you get beyond the basic Olympians, you're probably into, oh, we have to tell you about this territory.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was very important for us, for instance, to have a sort of gentle learning curve, because we sort of assumed that not many people, or some people have some exposure to Greek mythology, but if you just attack them with the whole shebang, they're going to be lost very quickly. So that was the point. Like, we have to choose gods which are sort of well known, who have huge personalities and are easy to recognize. And for instance, when we designed this first act of the game, which you played before, we thought, which are the gods that should be at the first act? And we chose, obviously, you're going to fight as a champion for humanity, so you're going to be interested in bare necessities. There is no sun, there is no food growing in the field, there are no forests. So obviously we chose Artemis, Apollo, and Demeter as these sort of rustic sort of community gods, and then we tried to build on this.
Yeah. Oh, I see. This is quite the mind-bending puzzle.
Yeah, it is.
I think. Okay. Smash all the pots again. I think what I'm gonna do is save. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Alright. Oh, I'm glad these satyrs don't seem too annoyed that I'm smashing stuff. I guess that's their job, basically.
Well, this is Dionysus' party. They're pretty laid back.
Like, well, if I don't smash it now,
I think they've done their
fair
fair share of smashing around, so.
Okay, let me pick up the key, maybe? That's weird. Is there inventory management in this game?
Yes, I think so. You should press I think.
Oh, do I have too much stuff? Is that what's going on here?
Like, yeah, there is a limit on this. I think that after you cross it, you just can't pick any loot that you find.
Well, I guess I can come back for that key. Anyway. Alright. So... Alright, I'm gonna drink it. I'm ready. Wait, let me have some coffee.
Yeah, before you drink it, you drink it.
Woo! Alright, let's go.
Go, go, go.
Oh shit, I've already forgotten which way I'm going. I think it's this way. And this way. Oh, okay. And that way. Yee. Oh no, oh no. No, phew. Oh, I'm going slower. No, I'm not. Oh.
Well, you're drunk. And this is very strong beverage, you know.
Yeah.
The wine of Dionysus.
Oh no, I think I've messed this up. Oh no, maybe not. Okay. Oh no, how do I get through that door? Okay, I think I am gonna have to do
Oh,
it.
you're so sloshed.
Yep. Well, I got a long way. That was it was alright. But I think I need to investigate how to get through that other door. Is there another? So there was like a. Maybe I didn't have to go through that. Yeah, let me get through there. Huh. Oh, I see. So I have to jump onto that. Okay, give that a test run. So how did you come to end up working on Apotheon specifically?
Well, this is kind of a funny story because I think it was 2011 when I discovered the first screens from the game. You know, it was at the very early stage of design at this time, and I thought, wow, this is a wonderful initiative, and I want to have a closer look at this. But just starting my PhD at this moment, so I didn't pay as much attention as I should have. And about 2 years later, when I was in the very middle of my PhD, and I was kind of, you know, looking for distractions at this point, as people do, and I reminded myself that there was this game I was really interested in, and I actually wrote the designers, and I told them that this is a wonderful thing, and I would love to help them any way I can, because you know I'm just a huge mythology nerd, and I'm really interested in this, and I study this professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I very nice message from designers telling me that, wow, you know, it's wonderful because we don't know mythology at all. I mean, you know, we have some exposure, but you know, you're obviously the professional, so could you join our team? And this was like incredible for me.
That's really cool.
So we started collaborating from this point onwards.
Nice. That's great. So yeah, just like reaching out to people and saying that you're interested in something.
Yeah, like, you know, I found this very, very productive, that actually, you know, a lot of people are very happy when you just write them and tell them that you enjoy their work, because sometimes you really get to interact with them, and occasionally, you know, I've had different situations in which the people actually turned out to be kind of accommodating. I could help them in some way, not always in the capacity as an advisor, obviously, but well, there were situations when I was able to help them with some consulting materials or anything. So I think people really appreciate that, and we often don't think about this, but well, we all love to have our work appreciated. So it's good to see somebody takes interest in what you do, and this was this kind of occasion, I think.
Yeah, whenever people will periodically on places like Twitter say like, oh, I just remembered like this great teacher I had back in high school or whatever. Should I send them a message? And I'm always like, yes, send them a message. Like when my students get back to me after like however many years, I'm like, and say, oh, I just want to say hi. I remember that class. I'm like, oh, that's great. Thanks for getting in touch. Like it's so rewarding, because as a teacher, that's what sort of why you do it. And so as any creative, I think anytime anybody like tells you that you appreciated their work, like they appreciated your work, like it's great. I'm
exactly, yeah, you know, and I think with the advent of the internet, it's actually become so much easier that you actually can write people across the globe and sort of participate in this. Because I was in Liverpool in the UK, they were in Canada, but still we worked fine, and it, you know, just turned perfect, and we were just exchanging emails back and forth. A lot of them, I tell you, but it worked. So
I think a lot of people worry about it being a bother, Like, oh, I'm just going to annoy them. It's like, well, really, if they're so annoyed that they get an email and it pisses them off because they got an email and hitting delete is too annoying for them, then they're probably not somebody you would have been emailing with that anyway. Or don't worry about that. That's not on you. That's on them.
Yeah.
All right,
So
let's
you
give this
have
another
to
go.
try. You never know who you're gonna get.
Yeah. Chug-a-lug-a-lug. Oh, shit. Oh! Man. That one moment of indecision about forgetting which way to go. And I lost it. Alright.
I think there is a potion which speeds up your movement, if I remember correctly.
This wasn't my last save, I just saved it. Oh. Wait. It was this one. I think? Yes. Okay, alright. Oh, so it auto-saves you as soon as you die. Interesting. I think? No, wait. Oh. Okay, I'm very confused about how the saving works in this game.
Okay, I'm online.
5.
For me.
Okay, it should be that one. Interesting. So when you save and you come back into a game, it doesn't save it. It doesn't save the state of the things.
I think that depends on the point in the game.
Okay, interesting. Well, let me open this. I wanna check whether the doors I'd already opened are still open. They're probably not. No, they're not. Interesting. Okay. I feel like there's a few things like this that I'm, if I knew more of what to expect from platformers, I would have more sort of intrinsic knowledge of how this would be supposed to work. So maybe I'm just
you have to have sort of a certain kind of dexterity to actually see where you're going with this kind of games, right?
Yeah.
Like, sort of go into the wrong direction, and especially in a time challenge like this, it's very difficult when you sort of make one mistake and you have to start over.
Yeah. This is exactly the kind of thing that's why I don't usually play these games as a general rule, actually.
Yeah.
So, I think there's something else I needed to check on. Oh, you said something about a potion that makes you faster. That sounds like an exceptionally good thing to be using.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have the recipe right now, but you can have a look, because if I remember correctly, there was this witch character you've met.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a witch, and she was selling potion recipes. You've bought some, but I'm not sure if you bought that one.
I don't think I did.
If you haven't, I think there is a merchant in the Agora in Olympus here, and they also sell some potions.
Okay. Well, let me give it one more go while I'm up here without the potion, and then...
Okay, so what kind of potions do you have?
I have healing, warding, invulnerability, bottled shadows, which is invisibility.
Okay,
and...
so you don't have the speed potion.
Yeah, I don't have it. And sunlight.
I think it's still doable without it, but obviously it's more difficult, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll give it one more go. I'll probably fail, and then I'll go buy a potion.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's go.
Okay.
No, open the door. Oh no. this is bad. No, this is really bad. I clicked the button, but it was too late. The animation had started. Alright, let's find a potion merchant.
Okay, yeah, that's the responsible thing to do.
Yeah. The responsible thing might be to walk away from this obsessive drinking competition.
Yeah.
For the mid-range
Then
one.
you don't get to win the favor of Dionysus.
Yeah, and that sounds pretty cool.
First are legendary.
Alright, so we're... Oh, this is probably not the way I want to go, but... Agro Market, that sounds likely.
Yeah, it's in the market. I think it's somewhere in the middle, right downstairs.
Wait for the guards to come. Hey, guard. Oh, can I... Oh.
Halt!
Oh, no.
You have broken the laws of Olympus. Pay tribute or submit to the judgment of Zeus.
Do I get what's in the chest? Yeah, I'll pay the fine.
Well,
Very
I figure
wise.
that, like, you
We'll
know,
be watching you.
here in the Agora, the problem is that you're not exactly supposed to smash anything that looks it could have something valuable inside it. So, for instance, you can smash tables, alright, but if you smash boxes or anything that has any kind of loot, then you're supposed to be stealing, and this is when the guards get you.
Weapon merchant, armor merchant.
Here I think you were in the middle of somebody's house, so this is why.
Right. Apothecary.
Bring me the proper herbs and reagents, and I'll set to work on any potion you need.
Alright. Repair kit recipe. Elixir of vigor. It's damage. Alacrity, there we go.
Yeah.
Faster sprint momentum. What else do we have here? Blast jar. Okay. Okay, so do I have what it takes to make this? Sacrificial oil and milk of molly root. Let's make a few of them. Oh, this is what I have. Let me see. Let me make some healing potions while I'm here. Since apparently I didn't have any. Alright.
Have you noted that the healing potion here is made out of, I think, Dittany of Crete, if I remember correctly?
Yeah.
So this was actually something that started as a Harry Potter joke. Because remember that in the final book, when, you know, Harry, Hermione, and Ron are hunting Horcruxes, gets flinched really badly. I mean, Ron is, and they use the essence of Dittany to sort of heal his wounds. And actually, this goes to the antiquity because, you know, there were these legends that in Crete there is this special kind of Dittany, which is a healing herb, and when a deer eats it, you know, all the arrows which were lodged inside its body will fall out naturally and it will heal. So this is a super interesting story, and I thought we have to put this inside the game, and you know, we found a way to sort of include this crafting system and put the Dittany inside it.
That's very cool. I do like that kind of little reference. Whoops. Oh, no.
I actually realized we are encouraging people right now to mix alcohol with medicine, which is a very stupid and possibly lethal thing to do.
Yeah, don't try this at home, kids.
No, don't.
I think it's pretty fair to say that you shouldn't try anything in this game at home.
No.
Or, frankly, anything to do
Don't
with the
smash
Olympian
pots,
gods.
don't mix alcohol and medicine, you know, don't sass Greek gods, that's for sure.
Yep. Don't do that. But yeah, that's generally mythology as a whole, right? Don't do anything that happens in a myth.
Yeah.
They're not usually guides
You
for
will go
good
down.
behavior. Ah. Oh, man. Wait, I need some coordination potion here.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Oh, okay, alright, we're off. Oh shit, I didn't take the potion. Shit. I forget what the potion key is.
There are some, but I don't remember.
Oh, I missed one.
Number 4, I think, and
I don't know what happened there. Oh, I just passed out. Okay. Yeesh. Alright. Yeah, I accidentally picked up the potion and then I wasn't prepared. Alrighty. So that's right. I have it highlighted and then I click on the... Yep. Okay, cool. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I think if I'm doing the potion, I probably don't need to prepare everything. I didn't want you to do that.
I'm not sure if you actually have to smash all these pots and boxes. Like, you know, they shouldn't be impediment to your movement.
No, it was what I was smashing the, I was hitting the things that opened the doors already.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to jump up and down to, that's not where I want to go. I was just trying to remove every possible impediment to my, anything that required coordination that I might have to do along the way.
Oh, I think you should admit it. You enjoy smashing things.
Well, fine.
Knew it.
Alright, I see that perspective now. Oh shit, damn it. Well, I can be fast up to here. Let's go! Go, Speed Racer. Whee!
Go, Power Rangers.
Yep. Oh shit.
Everything's getting so blurry right now.
Yeah. Oh. Oops. Face the right direction. Oh, that was the last one. Alright, okay, the speed potion definitely the way to go though.
Yeah.
Oh man. Alright.
We don't have to do this if you don't want to.
I mean, I've almost done it now, I think. Smash!
I think, did you write a potion, did you drink a potion when you were drinking actually all those wines? Because I think you can drink it the second time as well.
Oh, does it? Oh, I don't think it ran out.
Yeah, I think it should stack.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you get extra time, you know, for...
Huh. Potion all the things. So, I need 2. Drink the potion and then re-equip my spear. Yeah, maybe I'll try drinking. Should I drink 2 potions immediately?
Well, I'm not sure if there is a cap on the time when you stack them. So
I'll
we
just
could
try it with 1,
and
I
see
think.
what happens.
I
Yeah.
think I almost got it with 1 before. I just have to be a little bit more coordinated.
Just keep your finger ready on this key, so eventually we know when your time is ending. You can just sort of
Yeah.
have a arrangement. We have a question. What's the goal of earning Dionysus' favor? Well, this is a kind of a side quest, but on the other hand, you know, you also get an hefty reward at the end, so you're going to see. And an extra bit of story as well. What's going on Olympus? Dionysus has a bit of a loose tongue.
Oh! Ah, come on. Ah. That's terrible. What?
Should be terrible. You're so drunk right now.
Did I fail that, like, just after drinking the last one?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Do I have to then get back to Dionysus?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Do I have to get back to Dionysus after I've done this?
Yeah, you do.
Oh. Alright. Well, I think that would have been alright if I had not tragically messed up the hitting of this thing.
This is one of the hardest challenges at this level, so, you know.
Well, has anyone been keeping track of how many times I have done this? And is it as bad
I think
as...
about 5 or 6.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as bad as Phlegiston yet.
Yeah. That level was on fire.
Yep. Okay. Glug. Alright. Let's go. There's quite a bit of leeway in how far away you can be from the wine when you drink it, which is nice.
Yeah, they sort of jump into your hands when you're running plus, right?
Yeah. It's like the wine wants to be drunk.
Yeah, I think it does.
Definitely in Dionysus's party.
He's helping you out.
Yep. Like Artemis. He wants me to win.
Yeah. He's a true gentleman.
Yeah. Oh, no, this. Oh, this is terrible. How did that not?
My, it seems like everyone else has had too much wine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
What a pity. Meddlesome eavesdroppers would have much to gossip. I know who you are and why you're here, Nicandrios. The vines of Dionysus creep to all corners of the world. Zeus is a tyrant and a fool to separate the gods from the earth. There are many on Olympus who oppose his rule in secret. I will continue to play the fool to learn what I can from loosened tongues. But you are more direct, I think. You will soon draw the wrath of Zeus himself and will need all the help you can get. I give to you my sacred Cantharos, font of my power. Let the taste of joyous times flow back to your people. Ha ha! Go with my blessings, my friend.
This humble earthen drinking cup carries the power of wine and freedom. Joyous times and social euphoria flow from its rim like a wellspring. Effects of potions last 25% longer. That's cool.
Yeah, seemed appropriate.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
Yeah, well, this was one of the elements we tried to introduce, and we already saw something in the previous episodes that there's a kind of civil war on Olympus concerning this Zeus's decree about separating the heavens from the earth.
Yeah.
And not all agree with that, and some of them are actually working against him. We can see this, like for instance, we've seen Helios, who was sort of, he had his son stolen by Apollo, and he was imprisoned in a dungeon. So, well, this for understanding that he was sort of against this whole divine takeover. And you see the same with Dionysus, and there will be other gods like Hera, for obviously, who is manipulating you, but for her own ends at the same time. But she's your helper in some ways. You can see that there are different factors and different agents at play here in the game, and there is much going on behind the scenes. We are only going to see the shadows in the game, but there are some hints in the text and in the utterances by the characters to sort of let you know about this.
Yeah, I like that. It's very cool. It's part of the succession stuff. When I saw that that was one of your sort of academic specialties, all of a sudden a lot of things about the game became quite a lot more clear.
Well, I saw the other side of the process, I think. Like, this is why.
Oh, I don't want that shield. This is entirely necessary plot smashing.
Yeah.
I still can't pick up that key. What is the thing that I've got too much of? Is it these? Probably these. Oh, wait. I already have it. Oh, I see.
Several keys at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I can't pick it up again.
Yeah, like, we have a question in the chat, like, is somebody checking the chat? I am, so if you ask, I'm going to see this.
Yeah, I was saying, off air that and I think I might have said this, well, maybe not, that, what? Oh, okay. That when I have a guest on, I end up not looking at the chat as much because I'm, like, engaging with the person who's here, so,
But this is my task, so I do it anyway. Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No problem.
Hello, everybody, by the way. I feel like there's a lot of people.
Io Bacchus, yeah.
Alright, so shall we check out Aphrodite?
Yeah, if you want to. Well, her challenge is much simpler, but
Alright.
she's an interesting character in her own right.
Yeah. Do you happen to remember where she is?
She should be somewhere. I think Dionysus is somewhere to the left, so she's on the same level. I think to the right.
Is that her?
No, this is not it. Both Dionysus and Aphrodite are in the upper sections of this level, so.
Okay, I think I see where it is. I need to go.
She's on the other side of Apollo, I think. So Apollo's at the very top, and you have to keep going right, and
Right. Okay, I think I see how to get there. I remember passing her house before. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. The Chambers of Aphrodite. Lots of bird imagery going on with these.
Well, she had some connections with certain kinds of birds, especially, I think. I can't remember the name of the species, but, there were magical circles made of birds. I think they're lynx or rings that were used for some erotic magic, and Aphrodite was very often connected with these kinds of thing. So she has this bird imagery, and she often is depicted as holding a pigeon
I'm
or a
sorry,
dove
my
or a
dear, but
small
I'm
bird,
not
so
entertaining
this is
any
also sort of
audiences
her
today.
iconography as well, and we were trying to
There's
build on
still
this.
space for gifts or tributes
Yeah.
if you want to leave something for later. And just be careful not to bump anything, sweetheart.
I already broke a pot.
Yeah, doves, and different kinds of birds as well.
Okay. How do I leave something? I'm very confused about what this is asking me to do.
Okay, so do you want a hint?
Yeah.
So you have to smash the statues,
Oh.
and then she will attack you.
Why did she want me to smash the statues?
Well, sorry?
I asked why she wanted me to smash the statues.
She doesn't want you to. I mean, she wants you to respect her domain, and when you're going to,
Oh, I
to
see.
be rush some things as you do
Yep.
in this game, she's going to get pissed, and then you can actually provoke her into some sort of reaction.
Oh, I see. So this is kind of like the Apollo situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Alright, well, I'm never up for smashing things.
We have a question whether there's a chariot pulled by sparrows. Well, I'd love to, and I think Aphrodite should definitely get one. That would be the greatest rite ever, but hopefully she gets one.
I think...
What have you done, you clumsy oaf? Eros, put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
Oh, God.
Have your shield at the ready.
Yeah. Oh, yikes.
And you have to position yourself so that
Yeah.
arrows of Eros hit Aphrodite instead.
Oh.
Seen any of
Have
those
to put her
baldy
power
nymphs
against her
around
own
here?
herself.
That's clever. And also... some kind of, like, satyr
I
gel?
love a good brawl.
Yeah,
Wanna
like,
sit
you know,
down
well,
for a drink?
this is where she puts all the people who have sort of made a mess out of her home.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, it's full of satyrs.
Watch out for that fellow. I think he's into you.
Okay.
What have you done, you
Oh.
clumsy oaf? Eros, put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
Yeah, like we have this info, like this thing where ancient stuff gets fancy British accents. So this was actually not my decision, and well, when I finally discovered that the people in this game get British accents, you know, I was kind of, you know, told that this is the tradition. I think you mentioned this in your last Twitch stream that actually there is this sort of Greek gods and Greeks should have British accents because they are sort of refined and polite in some way. I don't know whether this is true or not, but this is also the thing that I've been told from the game
Yeah.
designers. The impression.
It's definitely a sort of thing in all sorts of reception that the classical figures will have British accents. Like if you look at Sword and Sandal type movies or whatever, or yeah, even like Romans as well. Like I tend to notice it more for Romans. I think Romans have a little bit more, have been in pop culture a little bit more. Oh.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, one of the interpretations I've read about this on a blog was that actually this is obviously a remnant of the British Empire sort of appropriating the antiquity, and this is sort of reflecting this, that when the British shows and then by osmosis American ones, they show the Greek gods and the Greek culture as this high elevated thing, they often associate this with, obviously, with the British culture and especially this kind of perfect, sort of idealized idea of British culture. So there is definitely
Yeah.
something at play that they still think this is a part of their heritage.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it for sure. Oh no.
Want to sit down for a drink?
No, I'm good. I've had enough liquor for a little bit, Mr. Seda. I just came back from a rager.
What have you done?
Yeah, like we have a chat now that there wasn't a true British accent. This is true because I think the voice actors were all over the world, and their sort of British accents was what they thought would sound as British. So this is only an approximation.
Yeah, I have just been playing through the Witcher series, and I definitely noticed a few of those.
Will you shoot?
Oh, got it right in the face. In The Witcher 2, certainly, the main sort of antagonist has this very interesting Britishy accent.
Yeah, like I think sometimes it's the good fit between having an authentic one and sometimes having something that is approachable. Oh,
Yeah. And to be honest, like most of the time, most of the audience probably isn't gonna be aware and
recognize
if
it
so, doesn't really
anyway.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is she?
Your shield is almost cracking.
Oh, I'm gonna be in trouble then. Ah,
Yeah. You're against the god of love and his arrow.
Want to sit down for a drink?
still no. Still, got something else in my mind, Mr. Seda.
Render any good pop.
Yeah, I need to be better about dodging them, I
What
guess.
have you
You have
done?
another shield you could use.
Yeah.
Because this one isn't very, covering, I think, enough.
Oh.
There are some with greater range, if I remember
Render any
correctly.
good parties lately?
Oh, wait, is this one? No,
Want to
just-
sit down
just have
for a
the one.
drink?
I definitely don't want to be carrying my torch.
What have you
Yeah,
done?
if your
you
shield cracks,
clumsy oaf?
the chat,
Eros,
if your shield
put
cracks,
this
you will
pig
really
out to
need
stud
Thetis to
with the
fetch
other
you a new one,
swine.
like she did for Hercules.
Ah! Yikes.
Do we know where the majority of the people playing this game are?
Render
I
any
think they're
good
actually all
parties
over the
lately?
world. Like, I was asking designers. Well, I think that when I asked them about the audiences and the players of this game, they told us that basically we've got people from China, we've got people from
What
the
have you
Americas, the
done, you
South, the North,
clumsy
and
oaf?
obviously
Eros,
Europe.
put this
Also,
pig
some
out
people
to
in Africa.
stud
So
with the other
basically everywhere,
swine.
there is a huge interest in this kind of production currently.
And the team that made this, are they Swedish?
No, though they're Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Watch where you shoot!
Aphrodite has a sort of pattern to her movement, so you should just watch her when she's go. The furniture, yeah, the furniture.
Ah.
In
Yes!
your way.
Oh no, there's my shield. Ah! Yeesh. Alright. this is going to be a problem.
Seen any of those baldy nymphs around here?
Well, maybe I'll just get really good at dodging.
Yeah. Well, technically, you could stand in one place and sort of dodge all the time.
What have you done, you
Yeah.
clumsy oaf? Eros, put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
Ah, right in the face. Hmm.
Seen any of those baldy nymphs around here?
I used to be the goddess of love, but then I took an arrow to the knee.
What have you
nice.
done, you clumsy oaf? Eros,
Right.
put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
I wonder actually if having... Nope. Shit. I wonder if having my speed potion on here would be useful.
Well, it could be like, you know, you jump around faster.
Seen any of
Yeah.
those baldy nymphs around here?
Give that a go.
What have you done, you clumsy oaf? Eros, put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
Ah. Okay, I think I'm going to give this one more go, and then I might go to find an actual mission.
Been to any good parties
Because
lately?
I think otherwise I'll have to go find a shield, and then it's going to be a whole thing. Maybe I'll
Well,
come back to
a
this.
replacement for your shield would be good anyway. Like,
Yeah.
What have
going
you
to crack
done,
any
you
moment now.
clumsy oaf? Eros, put this pig out to stud with the other swine.
but I think you should. Oh, you have repair kits for your shield. You can repair it.
Oh, I think the shield is already dead.
Oh, it cracked, right?
Yeah. Ah, okay. Let me see. What's the repair key?
It's well,
T?
I don't remember honestly. It's been such a long time, but
Wanna sit down for a drink?
and somewhere in the menu should have all the keys and what they do.
Options. World map, local map in. Throw indirect. Oh, throw was the middle button. That's why I was messing up the shooting. Okay. Yeah, well, it's not. I'll work it out. Alright, so. Give up on the dubious pleasures of Aphrodite's chambers.
Seen any of those?
And head to, I think is the main quest actually. It wants me to go in the other direction. What is it telling
The
me?
main quest is to go back to the Olympian Gates.
There we go.
Well, can I speak about Eros's age? His size here makes him seem a young adult, young, but he's often described as a young adult. What are your thoughts? Well, here we definitely went for the smaller representation because, you know, it was easier to show him just flitting around, but, well, it wasn't a total child. Like, you know, we were aware, you know, that there are these different representations of him, and we tried to sort of find a middle ground. Obviously, you know, as they say, middle ground satisfies no one, but in this case, we wanted to be intentionally vague about his true age, like, you know, whether he's an adult or actually a child, you know, so we tried to sort of find a way not to show his age to
Yeah, because he's kind of small, but a small human, right? He doesn't look
exactly.
like a baby so much as a full, like a fully
It's
grown
good to
human.
see
But
so
small.
many guards on patrol. Makes
Yeah, like
I
he's
hear
like
the
this
war is
little
going well.
homunculus in a way.
Won't be long
Yeah.
before we...
Which is a fair interpretation. Alright. What's this? Oh, difficulty. Okay, cool. No, I'm good. Whatever. Run.
There he is, my husband, the usurper.
Oh.
On your knees, trespasser.
The big guy
I have
himself.
watched 5 ages of men rise and fall,
Nice.
each generation more flawed than the last. I loved you long ago, but how low you have sunk. You disrespect the laws of Olympus. You forget your place in the universe. For your mortal failings, I turn my back on you. I had hoped you would pass with quiet dignity, like those before you. But instead, you spit at my feet. You have the audacity to invade my kingdom, attack my children in their sacred homes, and steal the might of the gods for yourself. These powers you have usurped are the privilege of the divine, and you are not a god.
Not yet. Well, that's a long way to fall.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got up, to be honest. Yeah, I really like the way
Well,
that...
hilarity.
I really like the way that the sort of Hesiotic Ages of Man got worked into the plot there. That's good.
Yeah, like basically, you know, the game. We tried when we thought about this sort of mythological frame for the game. We decided to sort of blend two Hesiotic myths. The first one was obviously the myth of succession, but the second was the myth of the 5 generations of men. And this was what would happen at the very end of the Iron Age, when, as Hesiod says, the gods will get offended. They will leave the earth and take all their gifts with them. So this is sort of this post-apocalyptic tale in the Greek flavor. What would happen if the gods have really left at the end of the Iron Age, and that humanity would be
I
left
never
to
thought I'd
fend
see
for
your
themselves.
face again.
Yeah, that's cool.
If the gods were ignoring us before, they're certainly paying attention now. Not many of us made it up here once the earthquake started, but I've been doing my best to tend to the wounded.
Oops. Okay. Nope, that's not a
Help
thing.
us! Gods have mercy! Please
Oh.
have mercy!
Supplies.
Help us!
I think
Help us!
I missed something.
Help us!
Is it down?
This place has seen better days.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, due to the wreckage, you have to sort of maneuver your way around the ruins.
Yeah. Maybe I was just not trying hard enough to jump over that one that I thought I'd have to jump over. Okay, it looks like I should be able to get over this, but...
Yeah, the other way, I think.
Okay.
Gods have mercy! Help us!
What about this? Oh, wait, actually,
You should go down, I think.
down? Okay, what's up here?
Left and down.
This is where I went already, okay.
Help us! Gods
Oh,
help us!
no, that's where it was. Okay. Has anyone got a shield? Could use a shield.
Gods have mercy! Gods have mercy!
Ah, there we go. Oh. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Oh. Aha! Take that.
Yeah, that's the way.
Stand still, little bird.
Oh, not like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're on fire today.
I'm still on fire from last time. That's the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Can I throw that up there? Nope, not like that.
Oh, he knows the trick with the rocks as well.
Back from your quest already? I'm afraid we can't give you much of a parade just yet. The sky opened up like the mouth of Zeus, and those bastards came down on us like a swarm of vultures, and the ground split apart
to
like it
explode
was
this
struck
wall.
by the hammer of the gods. We didn't even stand a chance. I saw the temple collapse with my own 2 eyes.
Alright, Blood Sea. Nope. Haha. Okay, alright. Ah, shield. I see a shield. The shield floats. This is a magical shield. Surely.
Yeah.
Alright, well that was good then.
Gods help us!
Nah, take that. Alright, oh. Okay, yeah.
I think he had a Sarissa.
Oh, that's what I want.
Yeah, you can get one at the later stage, I think.
I picked up a Sarissa off somebody at some previous point. I definitely was into that.
Yeah, like some people were actually nitpicking. I mean, they were nitpicking this on the Steam forums, like stating, well, obviously this is a Macedonian invention, all that, but I told them these are the gods. You know, they have access to technology you can't even imagine. So,
Yeah.
you know, this was conscious for us to mix and match weapons from different periods of ancient Greece. We didn't want to just stay in the archaic age because obviously our options would be very limited at this point.
Why can't I? How do I get out of this menu? Okay, E. Huh. I can't take it, but I can't leave the menu in which my only option is to take it.
I think you're overburdened actually. Like this would happen to me as well, so you have a
Okay.
limited capacity for new weapons.
Okay. What have I got of these?
So the good strategy is to actually switch from weapon to weapon, sort of use up your resources as you go, and so you can pick new ones
Okay.
to find them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's almost it. Can I drop things? Still think it's weird that I can't leave this behind. Oh, there we go. Underwater fight. Ah. Underwater pot smashing. Imagining the is this X meme? Is this underwater archaeology?
In some way, yes.
Oh.
Come here, Two Eyes.
No.
Kill the intruder.
Another one.
There's a lot of them.
Protect the masters.
You like your fire weapons, don't you?
Fire good. Fire good.
Stand still, little bird.
Aha. Got that lockpick he was guarding. Let's have a iron club. Oh. Iron club of pot smashing. Boom. Okay, where'd that other guy go?
Narcandrios!
Oh.
They're murdering everyone, and the
See
ones
that?
they haven't killed, the sea is swallowed whole.
Oh no.
Oh gods, where's a cask of wine when I need one?
Well, you want to go to Olympus.
Wait! I'm coming
Yeah.
with you!
Alright, got a friend. Get him,
Come
Ryan.
here, Two Eyes.
Yo! That left a mark.
Yeah. A big one.
Kill the intruder.
Can I speak about my role on the team? Yeah. So basically this was a lot of emails being sent back and forth, and the initial stage was that they told me what kind of idea they had, and already they had this idea that this was supposed to be about the final stages of the Iron Age and this sort of apocalypse setting, and that they wanted to fight the gods. So then we started asking ourselves questions like, are you even able to, and what would be the setting in which you could sort of challenge and fight and eventually defeat the Greek gods? And I was looking into the mythology and see whether this kind of thinking was even there in the ancient material, and apparently it was. So then we started to build around this and see which gods would be good as opponents for the first stage of the game, which gods would be better for the later stages, what kind of challenges would be good for a typical god. So for instance, with Demeter, as she was in the previous streams, we thought that it would be nice to sort of arrange this connection between her and Persephone, so we would go to Hades. The Apollo, then we thought, well, obviously he has a lot of natural enemies, like for instance, that he's a rapist, so he would have
My
a lot of women
sincerest
who would be
apologies,
angry at him, and
Narcandrios.
they would
Zeus
want
has
to see
taken
his
notice of our
downfall.
quest. I
The
had to
same would go
allay any
afterwards.
suspicions of my connection to you.
So
You are a
that would be the
courageous
general
hero, to be sure,
approach
but your
to this
methods
kind
are...
of thinking. And well, the other thing, well, how my knowledge fit in the creative process. Well, obviously, one of the thing was that I'm really enjoying looking at the connections between the gods. So we have Hera.
So we just paused because you were speaking.
Yeah. So the thing was that for instance, one of the big questions we had, and actually I wrote a contribution on this to a volume on classical antiquity in video games, is whether the Greek gods can be defeated and challenged. And actually, because many people were asking us this, like, on Steam forums and different places, like, how can you kill a Greek god? And I was presenting Apotheon on a conference in London. There was a person who approached me, and I think she was a member of the Neo-Hellenist Reconstruction religion community. And she told me that what I just showed them, and I showed them the scene with Artemis when she gets brutally murdered. And she told me this is, in her opinion, sacrilegious, and I shouldn't show things like that, in a computer game. And I thought, well, it's very difficult for me to answer this because obviously, there are some sort of influence in the classical Greek material which suggests to you that Greek gods could be, in some very specific circumstances, neutralized, or even, because you obviously see these questions all the time, whether the gods are mortal or not. The majority of people say, obviously, no, they are immortal. But in some cases, you saw that they come very close to dying. And in this special situation, as we have here, this is the end of the Iron Age. All the rules are sort of unraveling right now. The Zeus is pushing humanity and the universe to its limits. And I thought, in this special moment, when everything is crumbling down, could it be possible that in some strange way, the gods themselves are starting to lose this endless vitality that kind of characterized them before? And this was something I was really thinking about, and this game was kind of an answer, one of the possible answers that we came up with, to sort of argue that this kind of thinking was already present in the Greek material, that the Greek gods can be sometimes killed in specific contexts. We sort of took this conclusion and tried to change this into a game when you actually attack them, when you actually slay lots of gods on your way to the top of the Olympus. And obviously this was a very creative process, but at the same time, it made me think about my own work. So I think it was a two-way avenue, and so to speak. Like, I was just putting my work into the creative process, and at the same time, the creative process sort of influenced my work.
Yeah, that's really interesting what you were saying about it influencing your own work, because that's one of the things about like reception when it's sort of done right. It shouldn't be just thinking about like how things in modern works reflect on the classical world, but how we can take the learnings from that and take it back into our own work and learn something new about the ancient sources from examining how they're looked at in a modern way.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with perception is that sometimes people see this in a very limited way. As you said, we only look for influences that came from antiquity to a specific period that when it came later. But, as we've said, this is always, a reciprocal process, that you are doing reception all the time. Because whenever you approach an ancient artifact or an ancient narrative, you approach this with your own preconceptions and beliefs in your mind. So you're doing receptions because you reconstruct the meaning as you go. And this is something that many people are not entirely familiar or aware of, because they think that we approach things objectively. And this is patently not true, that we are doing reception all the time. But we have to keep reminding ourselves that we are reception people, and reception is something we do whenever we study classics, that there is no classics without reception.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, so Hera is about to give us some dialogue, so I'll just
Zeus, fool that he is, continues to believe in my loyalty to him. A necessary deception, you understand. By his command, the fury of Poseidon, Lord of the Sea, will crumble even your strongest walls to ruin. My beloved son, Ares, god of war, sends his soldiers to butcher your people. They are led by the devious Athena, whose stratagems have no mercy. Soon there will be nothing left but the boiling waters and the silence of your people. Turn your despair to vengeance, Nicandrios, for we are even closer to overthrowing that lecherous pig who sits atop the mountain. Return to Olympus. Rip the divine powers from these petty minions.
Hey,
And
it's your
swiftly,
son you're talking
your
about.
poor world may yet be spared from the wrath of the gods.
See you
So
live the
this-
Acropolis.
Feeling that you're being played here.
Yeah,
It's not
I
very
feel like...
subtle, is it?
Yeah.
He's laying it on kind of thick.
Whee!
And we rise again.
Yeah, the way that some of the animations like move you like either up or down through different levels in that kind of way, I really like. Just a little thing about the graphic design of the game that I find very
Yeah,
pleasing.
I think this is actually a nice allusion to this scenes we get in the Iliad, because the gods are always flitting up and down from Olympus to the Trojan fields and then up again. So this is something that, well, it's obviously, you know, in their habit to just be going up and down, and we wanted to sort of show this direction in this vertical direction in their travels as well.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. Alright, Acropolis.
Didn't much care for those humans anyways. Always urinating in my river.
I'm right here, buddy.
Yeah.
I
You don't
wasn't
look
peeing
human
into
at
it
this
well,
point, I think.
I'd
That's
be
one of
stabbing
the
people
things
in
with
the
Greek
river.
mythology, you know.
Where about your
You
doors?
don't
I just had
always
4
can
cases of
recognize
apples.
whether
I
you're
hear
dealing
the
with a
war is
human or
going
not.
well.
And well,
Won't be
you
long
can see
before
this
we
in
can
many
go
worlds,
back
like for
home.
instance in the Americans, then when somebody approaches an unknown character, they have sort of find out whether am I dealing with a god? Am I dealing with a human? You have to be always careful, because if you're dealing with a god and you assume that you're dealing with a human, then obviously it's going to end badly for you. So you always have to be careful. You have this existential anxiety about your interpersonal relationships.
Yeah. Yep, that's definitely true. Alright, so we got Athena here, the big owl shield. We got Ares doing a little war dance, getting a stab on, and Poseidon with his trident.
So which one do you want to tackle first?
That's a good question, but actually the first thing I'm going to tackle is... Do I have a explodey thing? Do I? Can I make explodey? Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's 3. I see, no wonder. I was looking at the potion slot. First thing...
There is another market here in the Acropolis when they say better stuff, so maybe you should be interested in this.
Just gonna go back for that. Take potion 1. Cool. Stuff. Yeah, I don't know. What do we got? It's so
Well,
we probably
Poseidon, you know, it's a rousing sea adventure because you actually go to get in a ship and sort of sail around the Mediterranean. With Athena, it's a contest of wit and wisdom, obviously, and with Ares, it's a slugfest, as you would
Yeah.
expect.
yeah. Well,
Whatever you're in mood for.
I might go for a Poseidon then. I think.
Okay.
I feel like I guess I haven't really had that much of a slugfest yet, but oh, that sounds interesting. So, and that's this direction, so that's convenient.
The gods are always angry. After reading Circe, I kinda get it. How does one bring down their existential stress? Good exercise and breaking clay pots? Yeah, good one.
Lord Zeus sees all that we see.
Yeah,
We're
like, but
watching
you
you,
would kind of
trespasser.
understand this being angry when you realize that you have eternal existence, which is filled with either banquets and just not doing much, or tormenting mortals.
Yeah.
So it's not very fun.
It'll get boring
You would
after
have
a
a
while.
lot of pent-up anxiety, I would imagine.
Yeah. I ended up I usually show this passage actually at the start of my myth classes about Poseidon. It's just such a wonderful, like, just succinct summary of him essentially, like earth shaker, the mover of the fruitless sea, god of the deep.
Yeah, like, because he has so many different aspects to him, but, well, the people only think of him as the god of the sea, whereas he actually goes in different directions, and he's actually more of a lord of the wild things, so he presides over where the wild things are. Greek myth.
That's maybe I should use a slide from that when I next introduce him. That's good. All right.
Keep the peace, mortal. This is no place for bloodshed.
Allowed in here?
Oh no. You're not allowed to break in. Poseidon can throw lightning, but also so does Athena, so many gods can borrow Zeus's thunderbolts if they are inclined to.
Right in the face. Okay, alright, that's interesting. I guess I need to be more tooled up for a fight.
Well, they are paying attention to you now, right now. I mean, the first stage, nobody knew you, but now you're sort of wanted.
Alright, so I got that, I got this. I don't think there's anything of those I need. Those.
Lord Zeus sees all that we see.
What was that, sorry?
Where are you running with a pitchfork?
Pitchforks are useful.
Keep the peace, mortal.
Arrows, pull all those javelins out of myself. Aha.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm getting the hang of this arrow action now.
Yeah. It was the middle of your mouse that loosens them.
You're going to...
Those pirates were just minding their own business.
I feel like if they're in red, they're probably gonna kill me.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe I got off on the wrong side of the ship.
Spill your guts!
Those rich snobs in Apollo's palace throw good puffs.
Was he trying to give me party tips about Apollo then while I was stabbing him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the resurrection. Only the finest in long-range stabbing.
So that all depends on your
I actually don't know if this is the best weapon.
I'll spill your guts.
Oh, that was impressive. So were there any, I don't know if, like, conflicts is the right word, but were there any things that you would have wanted to do for the game in terms of mythological stuff that didn't work out?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, there was this situation in Thetis, obviously, well, we wanted to have a bigger role for Dionysus, sort of embellish these conflicts and add another layer to it, like, you know, because the problem was that Nicandrios is technically not a god, so there would be something like an adoption ritual at a later stage of the game when Thetis and Dionysus come together. Because, you know, there was this idea that Zeus was supposed to have a child who would eventually surpass him, and different gods were thought to be these kind of Zeus' successors at one point or another. But, well, obviously Dionysus was one of the strong contenders for the title, and we thought that if Dionysus sort of that he adopts Nicandrios as his son, then possibly, you know, by the virtue of the logic of mythology, you know, the fate would consider also Nicandrios the next chain in the succession link, and this would give you sort of this kind of legitimation to sort of pursue Zeus as his descendant and in a way successor as well. But obviously, you know, this was kind of complicated, and the test audiences told us that no, we want to have a simpler story because, you know, there is a lot going on already and we don't know that much about mythology, so we have to simplify it as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's an interesting sort of conflict, I guess, between the type of game that it is, where the gameplay is doing a certain thing and you want to have the story that, like, amplifies that and accentuates that and gives it purpose, but without, like, all of a sudden it becomes the whole thing being like a political intrigue that you're keeping track of. You're like complex enough to be deep, but simple enough not to be like distracting, I guess.
Yeah, like, but you know, well, one of the really valuable lessons I've gotten from these game designers, I mean Jesse and Lee, was that sometimes less is more, in that the people are very good at thinking up their own explanations for what's going on the screen.
Yep.
And if you're trying to be too precise, you often bog them down with extra detail, which is actually unnecessary because, well, they often enjoy just thinking up their own explanations and sort of considering what could have happened, what was really going on. So actually, I think the game is stronger for not being as, you know, bogged down with all this detail in some ways.
Yeah, allowing that space for people to make their own narratives is something that is pretty, like, important to games, I think, and a thing that people recognize. We've met our favorite god that didn't get a starring role.
Lady Hera has told me of your coming. We have a mutual understanding. Poseidon may be master of the sea, but I have influence of my own in these waters. Aboard this ship, his eyes will overlook you for a time. Seek out the sanctuary of the Tritons to calm the waves that ravage your village. Crack the pillar of tremors to quiet the earthquakes that split the ground. Slay Poseidon's master of steeds, Hipparchus, who supplies the gods with their war horses. The Olympians have taken for granted their place at the top of the cosmos. Not everything in the universe bends to the will of the gods. There are things older and more powerful than even they.
Fish.
And here she transforms.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, so that was actually a reference to her being, you know, a famous shapeshifter who was always transforming into one thing or another.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of try to use this conversation to let you know that there is something going on behind the scenes, like, you know, there are gods who oppose the regime of Zeus and they are fighting against him, and Thetis, as I told you, she would be a perfect character to actually head this rebellion because she was dealt a really rough hand by Zeus by having her son killed and all that, and being raped by Peleus as well. So she would be a perfect character, but as I mentioned, she wasn't found to be salient enough for people to be sort of be the focal point of the game, so we had to stick with Hera.
This is pretty cool. Are there things to explore in each of these squares? It's like a jump off the ship.
Yeah, like, you know, actually, you know, in every square there is something, and sometimes you can sort of dive into the sea and find some hidden treasures or monsters or stuff. So it's kind of a game of exploration here.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna do that on all of these, but let me take a look around. See what's under the sea here. Doesn't look like much. Not here anyway. This goes down a long way.
There are a couple of islands, I think, and sometimes even in the open sea you can dive and find some stuff. I'm not sure if it's in every square of the map, but some of them, yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Well, I'm in the open sea at the moment, so this is I mean, this is a good look at the way that the art style works with this with the kind of background here. I like this.
Yeah. Like, you can really see this kind of pottery-like structure here.
Yeah. Oh, that's clever as well. All right. So I'm gonna keep going to this tremor earthquakey situation over here.
Yeah.
Destroy the pillar of quakes.
Yeah. And then you will be the earth shaker.
Haha! That's right, run away, river gods. Altar smashers here. Oh.
Yeah, like, this was kind of our ideas for the game, like when we considered how should we show that when you fight with the gods, you take their powers for yourself. And then, you know, obviously we said, well, they have these attributes, but do you get the entirety of their powers when you get, for instance, Poseidon's trident or not, when you have to sort of give you a bonus, but not too much, because then you would be overpowered and the game would be over in a way?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a place where I think the realities of this being a game of a certain genre come into play, and the certain things that maybe we shouldn't be aiming to think, well, is this a realistic depiction of the way that people would necessarily imagine the Greek gods would, like, their powers are distributed or what have you? That's less important.
Yeah, like, but the very idea of, you know, power as it is very complicated, and we don't know whether this was something they were born with or maybe something they were given, because I think that different explanations for different contexts, and this is very mysterious, and this is what makes it interesting, actually, that you can always wonder whether you could steal it, whether this is something you could transfer, and this is one part of the material that I really love looking at.
Yeah.
In a way.
So I'm guessing from the fact that he's red that he's going to come to life and beat me at some point.
Yeah, not here, but soon.
Underwater.
You cannot swim away from us, land creature.
Oh, yikes. Stabbed by someone. No, yikes. Underwater fish person fight.
I smell your blood.
Oh yeah, the Tritons are fierce.
No. I wonder if... Nope. That's probably good. I might need a bigger a second.
Well, obviously you're slowed down when you're in the water.
Yeah. There we go. Slightly longer range. It's trident. It's good enough for you
well,
guys.
They have tridents as well, so.
The water will be your grave.
I think he was already dead. Bloodthirsty mantis. Oh. Alright. It certainly must have been a lot of fun coming up with all of the different locations for these and trying to imagine like what sort of like what the geography of Olympus might be like.
Yeah, well, that was one of the challenges because well, obviously when you're on Olympus, you're on a mountain, but then we wanted to include Hades, then we wanted to include the sea, Poseidon's domain. So we sort of thought like, well, obviously the gods are going back and forth, so they should have this sort of a travel hub, and really want to include these different domains to show you that the gods are responsible for the entirety of world, and this is why the civilization is collapsing in the game because all the gods left the earth. So we wanted Candace to be taken this epic journey throughout the different realms of mythology and to see what it looks like in the sea, what it looks like in the underworld and in different places, and also in the forest because you get the forest of Artemis.
Right.
So these different places would have sort of their own role in the unfolding adventure.
I guess that is something that will require me to have some sort of increased jumping ability at some later point.
There will be one. Yeah. There will be one artifact like that.
And that's okay. Alright, so I can't get up there. Do I have to attack him?
How is your throwing?
Oh, good question. That makes sense. This one. What? Sorry. Yikes, there's somebody hiding there. You got them with my backswing. What? No, stop respawning there, people. Ah, there we go, got it.
A chain reaction.
Yeah. Yikes. Recover some of those. Whee! Ah!
These holy waters are no place for a mortal. Leave our sanctuary.
No.
Father will sink your tiny boat.
These invisible
Gone,
characters
nuisance of a
were
man.
meant to be daughters of Okeanos.
Right. Yeah.
Who trespasses on our sacred realm?
they have these water-based attacks because obviously, you know, they are the goddesses who are responsible for the springs.
Yeah.
But they had also some different cultic functions, and we thought they would be perfect sort of. They would have this kind of range attack because, you know, we thought that we wanted to show that the goddesses, who were often thought to be kind of a less dangerous category of a deity, also had their sort of special powers which would give you a lot of trouble if you attack them.
These people are certainly giving me a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, you invaded their house.
Well, that's true.
You are the one who shouldn't be here.
These holy waters are no place for a mortal.
Oh, here's that shield. No. Yeah, I am just getting distracted by that. Yeah, I don't need to be fighting all these people. No, thanks. Also don't need that super weapon out, I think.
Father will sink your tiny boat. Be gone, nuisance of a man. Return to your rat nest, plunderer. Who trespasses on your sacred realm?
Sometimes when you can't fight, it's better to run.
Yeah, there's definitely a few cases like that. Oh no! I do want to be up there. No, I'm on fire again.
I think it's becoming a habit for you.
Yeah, it's a way of life. Oh, thanks. Oh no! Grab on. Working on those arm muscles.
Yeah. How do you think the Greeks were so buff?
Yep, all those overhand climbings.
Yeah. It is super hard actually, I think, in real life.
Yeah. This is obviously why they invented the Sarissa as well. They gotta break those things that are hanging off the roof.
Yeah.
Leave our sanctuary.
Oh, thanks. Don't know me.
Father will sink your tiny boat. Be gone, nuisance of a man.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say their attacks definitely helped me out a lot.
Who trespasses on our sacred
No, they are trying in some small way.
Yep.
Return to your rat nest, plunderer.
Ooh.
Well, they might be helping you, but they definitely talk nasty about you.
Well, but as you say, you know, that's fair. I am in their house.
Yeah. Like, you know, I think they were left alone, you know, their dad is not in the house, you know, and then, you know, this man comes in and starts breaking all their stuff.
Yeah.
These holy waters are no place for a mortal.
Another big scary Poseidon. I don't know if I need to smash these meats, but
Always smash the meat.
always smash the meat. Money.
There is a lot of plunder here.
Yeah. Well, who would have thought the gods would have had a lot of
Be
stuff?
gone, nuisance of a man.
What
Father
else
will
can
sink your
they do?
tiny
I mean,
boat.
they can eat, they can feast, well, they can have material possessions.
Who trespasses on our sacred realm?
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a cool little octopus statue there.
It's
Return to
actually,
your
I
rat
think,
nest,
based
plunderer.
on Minoan motifs.
Yeah.
And octopus, I mean, octopi, well, wow, I always forget the octopus. I think this is the plural, but, well, they associated with Thetis in some variants of the myth, so, you know, that would be a small nod to her, that she is sort of watching over you here, even as a part of this pantheon, because obviously, you know, well, we had this reference to you not being seen by Poseidon when you are on the ship provided by Thetis, and this was that, you know, even though Poseidon is the master of the sea, Thetis also has a kind of influence in the waters, and she's still, you know, kind of, she can sort of mess with Poseidon's powers because she's older than him and she's also part of the sea.
Right. Well, that idea of the gods being like extremely powerful in a particular domain, but not necessarily omnipotent, is pretty important to Greek myth.
Oh yeah, exactly. And for instance, well, I often think about Zeus that he is not exactly the strongest one. He's a very good politician. He knows how to manage people, and he knows how to make alliances with the people who can help him. He knows how to neutralize the enemies, how to co-opt some of the people he can't really neutralize. So Zeus is very clever in that way. Like, he really shows this both qualities of physical power and the quality of being the god of Metis, the god of wisdom in some ways.
Yeah.
Back off.
Why? What are you gonna do about it?
You're going to regret that.
Am I?
I'll spill your guts.
He's quick.
You win.
So I stopped off at one of these islands that you mentioned.
Yeah, I've seen this. Well, some of them are inhabited by pirates, and others, you know, have these small communities. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
You're going to regret that.
Am I? This is a return.
One of the main mystical objects of the game.
Spill your guts.
Oh, that's.
I also had a lot of fun, you know, sort of writing descriptions for these objects. I got asked by the developers often, like, what kind of fun effect it would have, and then, you know, I had to sort of find a mythological equivalent or a connection that could be worked into the game at this stage.
Alright, yeah, that was quite cute. Little side jaunt. I think I need to kill all the pirates. Just gonna get out of here. Oh, smash all the meat. Rule number 1.
Okay, so what do you want to do next?
I think. So what are the options here? We've got the.
Okay, so the pillar
horse.
of tremors is smashed, I think. So
Yep.
maybe the horses.
Horses? Let's do the horses.
The horse island is kind of fun.
Horse Island. Sailing we go. Up, boom. Oops. And, oh, did I sail the right way? No. The direction keys seem to. I think they change. Yeah. All right. Back and forth. Back and forth.
Yeah. You're taking on the choppy sea.
Yep. I'm not a sailor. I'm gonna go.
Well, you're doing all right for not a sailor.
Yeah. This boat just has a really easy GPS.
Well, it's been blessed by a goddess.
No, that's true. Yeah, Thetis is driving. Thetis is my co-pilot. West. No, wait, did I go the right way? I think I might have. Oh, were those pirate ships? Huh.
There are some ships in the sea, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, huh. That's cute. Ran into a ship.
Hello there.
Hello.
Angling.
Alright. Nice to see you on your ship here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back on mine. Sail
Just
off.
passing along.
Oh. Wait, I went to the wrong place. Oh, we'll do this one. Sanctuary of the Tritons. Well, while we're here,
It's as good a place as any.
guess I'll swim. Is there a thing to go up? Thank you. Oh, that's a nice wall relief. Control space. Oh, is this gonna flood the place?
Yeah, like you're supposed to swim a lot in this place.
That makes sense. Oh, interesting, yeah.
A fresh catch.
Fresh catch.
I smell your blood.
Well, you know, they are fish, and you're
Yeah.
a mammal, so I suppose you would be a welcome change of diet in some way.
I gotta switch back to that trident.
Feel the sting of my trident.
Yeah, you know, it's very good for throwing underwater.
Oh, I think I don't have one anymore. I think I need your trident, friend.
The chase.
Have to pry it from his dead hands.
Well, conveniently. Sarissa. Ah. There we go. Yeah. This trident seemed very good against these guys. Unsurprising.
Well, you know, when in Rome.
Yep. And I think it is the kind of weapon that I've found that I like in this game, where it.
Well, it has some good range, I think.
Yeah, good range and a forward pushing attack. I seem to be better at managing those. But also, I don't want to get in fights with
The
them.
water will be your grave.
My watery grave? Hmm?
Yeah. Jesse had a fun writing these all sort of pirate-sounding chants and sort of insults in this kind of game.
Nice.
I smell your blood.
Do not get distracted.
You cannot
That is
swim
hard
away from
to.
us, land creature.
Yeah.
Feel the sting of my trident.
You're going to regret that.
Probably.
Yeah, at some point.
You win.
Yes, I do.
I'm not sure if you noticed
You
that
win.
there were dogs on Olympus. But they have fish.
Huh. Oh, wow, there's a lot of people chasing me. Oh. Stab of Poseidon's throne. Okay, okay, maybe I need to go the other way. No? Okay.
A fresh catch. I smell your blood.
Everything's floating right now.
Yeah. Oh.
You cannot swim away from us, land creature.
I mean, maybe I can swim away from you.
My trident.
No.
Alright. Here we go. I'm glad there's no, breathing mechanic.
Yeah, like that would be terrible in this place. Like,
Yeah. Oh, this is fun. Oh, nice. What magic awaits? Okay, some stuff. Oh, can I get that?
The chase is on.
Okay, I need another lever, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Be one.
They all just seem to die when I walk through them. Can never have enough lockpicks. That's what I've learned about this game.
Well, they usually can be found lying around, but sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, you arrive at a place and you don't have enough.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. This is why it's always good to go shopping whenever you try to take on a god and another one. Because
Yeah.
you should get extra
You're going
supplies.
to regret it.
That's true, yeah. I think somebody in the chat earlier was saying that was telling me off for hoarding.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they think this
Sometimes
is hoarding,
you should, yeah.
they should see my they should have seen my play of The Witcher, where I was walking around very slowly.
Yeah, like, you know, well, if you have extra stuff, you should be sort of punished for this. Because one of the things, well, I always found very funny in the games where you can stick absolutely everything in your pants, and in some games you can just walk around with the ludicrous kinds of stuff inside you.
You win.
Especially, I think this is especially egregious with adventure games. Like you have these huge inventories, and well, obviously, you know, it stays in this hidden microspace of hiding. This bag of you have.
Like, how am I carrying all of this stuff? Where is it sitting?
Yeah. In mention, I think.
Yeah. Still, if it's a game that wants you to be building stuff, like if there's a crafting system or something where like you're using things up, or it wants you to swap between things for different monsters, then yeah, you kind of I always feel you sort of need, I don't know, to take that into account. Oh
This is
no!
one of, I think, acceptable breaks from reality in this kind of game.
Yeah. And there's plenty of games that will, I think, do that more hardcore thing.
Oh yeah.
It's just generally not the kind of experience that I'm looking for generally when I'm playing a game. Alright. Gotta stop before I go over the ledge. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Like, you know, you're pretty sturdy, but you do take damage.
Too many healing potions. Okay. So what is over here that I couldn't get to before? Furniture! Smashing it!
Yeah.
This is pretty clever overall. I like this. Find the thing to raise the water level to go up to the next level.
Yeah, like, you know, well, that was the thing. Like, actually, I wasn't responsible for this, but the guys in the team, they had a lot of great ideas about sort of introducing some variation between the different levels, so that, you know, you won't feel like you're doing all the same stuff every day, every level, but sort of actually there are different mechanisms and different ways of traveling around in every place you visit.
Yeah, and I think it's you all did a really good job of it with that, because I feel like every section and every subsection of the sections has felt distinct. And
yeah, well, like here, you know, that was the reason. Like, well, for instance, with Poseidon, who is the master both of the earthquakes and of the sea and the horses, so it was very important for us to show different aspects of him and different challenges that you have.
Yeah.
Everybody is amenable to this kind of treatment, but with Poseidon, actually, we're lucky enough, so he was, and we could sort of have fun with designing different sections in very different ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, even Artemis, I thought, who you might think of as being like relatively more one-dimensional, maybe, was pretty. All of those areas were quite distinct and interesting.
Yeah, like, because that's the thing. Like, you know, well, in the situation when the gods were sort of quarantined on Olympus, they would get bored very quickly, so each of them would create this old small realm of influence where they would sort of recreate their favorite stories and favorite environments, so we could have sort of a fun play space into which weave our own stories and narratives, sort of reconstructing but also commenting upon their most known myths and how they went and all the narratives that went into the making. So that was a massive invitation to play with the characters and see how they sort of would interact in this sort of mythological play space.
Yeah. Trident work, I think. New Trident. Surely
those mermen really hate you.
Oh, that's what I missed. Okay. I was thinking I'd missed something, and then I saw the little thing I had to hit. Using up the lockpick. Get out of here. Oh, Trident. Sorry, Trident. Oh, I need a healing potion.
Yes, you do.
Alright, I think this is a little bit of a problem, actually.
Dittany, do your stuff.
What was that, sorry?
I said, Dittany, do your stuff.
Yeah. Where are you, horde of enemies? Actually, I do still have a Sarissa.
It's very hard underwater, right?
Yeah. Or it's... I think the issue I'm having here is there's just so many of them all at once, I kind of didn't...
Yeah, like, there are like a school of fish, you know, they always attack together.
You cannot swim away from us, land creature! A fresh catch!
Oh, Alright, and they're respawning. I got it.
The chase is on.
I think I might just have to...
The water will be your prey.
Oh, I already did pick it.
King of my trident.
I want whatever's in this. Okay. Where's the cursor? Follow that arrow. Oh, okay. Bet it's in the temple. Yep. Oh. Wait, did I do that? I think I did. So did you have anything to do with the kind of art direction? Was that part of your role?
No, not really. I mean, well, when I joined the team, the lead designer, Justin McGibney, he was already very well versed in the Greek art. He told me that he spent at least close to 2 years or something. Just different iterations of the Greek art from the period, so he was super knowledgeable about this. I was mostly responsible for narrative. He was doing all the technical stuff with architecture. But yeah, I think he did a marvelous job. Like, you know, there are so many inside jokes and references to actual works of art that this is just a pleasure to play and see how he got creative with the things that you couldn't actually show in this kind of environment, and yet he found a way to still show it. So
yeah.
This is really wonderful.
No, I agree. Yeah, and I think it's a testimony to that like I had Marina on last time, and she was able to like say so much about all the references that were there, and many of them are pretty obvious to sort of anybody who's a classicist and maybe familiar if you're not, but there are so many that are just way deeper than you might initially think.
Yeah, like that was the thing. Like, he told me that basically, you know, there are already so many great works of art, and when you're trying to do a game which is relatively faithful and sort of riffs on this kind of material, it's very easy for you to sort of copy things. At the same time, you should copy it in a way that sort of shows that you have a deeper understanding of it. So this is why whenever he mixed styles, or whenever he tried to introduce something new that the ancient Greek art actually didn't have, he will always try to find a way to sort of make it not conspicuous, so that it would blend well with the remainder of the style in some ways.
Who sets foot upon the sacred Isle of Horses?
Me.
Lord Poseidon preserves his favorite creations from the ruination of the world. To trespass here is to call down the fury of the Master of Steeds on both land and sea.
Are you the Master of Steeds? Maybe.
Yeah, he is, I think.
How do you feel about against Sarissa, Master of Steeds?
I think his steed is not going to like it.
Come back. I got 18 feet of wood for you.
Are you jousting?
Oh, that would be cool. Is there a horse? Can I get a horse?
Yeah, there is a horse, and actually you can go on a horse here.
Alrighty.
There is a horse on this island.
Oh, here we go.
Yay!
Oh,
You're a
no.
knight.
Yeah, haha! Let's go. Alright, Master of Horse.
Watch it go.
Haha! Get your heart out, Alexander. Dun. Yeah.
There is something very satisfactory about this.
Yep. This is great.
Look at you go.
It was a blur.
You're actually going too fast sometimes.
Yeah. Oh.
You're going to regret that.
Ah.
Oh.
How do I get off the... Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh, now I can get on his horse.
Yeah. You killed it, you bought it.
Alright. Well, the Sarissa back now, so fist fighting from a horse. Alright, so that's the objective. Is there anything else on this I should...
No, unless you want to plunder or something, but I've seen the majority of the island.
Yeah. That was cool. That was such a cute little... Like, just a small little level, but totally different to the others.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always something very refreshing about just having a horse and riding on it in a game.
Mm-hmm.
The Witcher was very good with this.
The third one?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, I haven't started that yet. We just finished playing Witcher 2 last night, so we're going on to Witcher 3. We watched the TV show and we were like, okay,
oh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah. So, because the first one we really liked, and the second one we kind of didn't, and then so we're hoping the third one. The third one's the one that everybody just talks about. So,
yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. All right.
What defiance is this? A fool sails my waters like a cork in a storm.
Yep, that's
Your
me.
mortal race has been sentenced to oblivion by decree of my brother. In ages past, Zeus has been far too lenient on your miserable civilizations. He's always had a weakness for your sycophantic whimpering. But now you've finally eroded the last of his patience, and I am all too glad to be rid of your mewling.
Mewling, good.
Really chewing the scenery, isn't he?
Will be washed away as grains of sand stand against the sea. The ruins of your cities will litter the seafloor.
Minor issue here of the screen not showing it properly is a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I've seen this, like something's changed.
Oh. Okay, I think I want some of these potions.
How fragile humanity is compared to salt water
I think
and
this is
stone.
a kind of a graphic error. You know what's going on?
Yeah, I wonder if I can, do something about this. They had this on one of the previous ships as well. So I think I want to be... Ugh. I wonder if I can... Okay, can I shoot things? Range here.
The chase is on!
I also can't see the top of my screen, so I don't know how many hit points he's on.
So that's the main problem, because normally you are supposed to go on the ship and then aim at Poseidon from the top of your ship, but here obviously you can't because you don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can bite at his fingers, I mean at his feet, but the most dignified position to fight, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh.
This is my kingdom.
A fresh catch.
Okay. Oh. Can I throw that under here? It doesn't look like I can use missile weapons underwater, which is fair. Okay, so... Oh. It looks like his...
The ruins of your cities will litter the seafloor.
Well, there are some parts, it seems, of him that I can hit under here, and some parts that I can't, and I don't know what the pattern is.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was something like the Cyclops, so not exactly the eye itself,
Right.
but I think that it's more vulnerable.
Yeah. No.
How fragile humanity is compared to salt water and stone.
Mm.
Sink beneath the waves.
Oops. Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember now. You know, you can't hurt him, or at least the parts which are in water.
Oh. Huh. So I'd have to...
Yeah, like with the thing we got here, like, you know, it's almost impossible to hit him above the water.
If I can get back to my ship.
Maybe you should save and try to load the game again.
Yeah. No. Well, it'll probably will have auto-saved, right? Maybe I'll try and just load it.
Or you can...
It's probably that one.
What defiance is
Yeah,
this?
better.
A fool sails my waters like a cork in a storm. Your mortal race has been sentenced to oblivion by decree of my brother. In ages past, Zeus has been far too lenient on your miserable civilization. You and your people will be... The ruins of your cities will litter the seafloor.
How do I get up into the top of my ship?
I mean, no, at least I think when you are aboard, it's possible for you to sort of aim at his head and hit him.
Yeah. Oof.
But yeah, right now in this situation we can't see it, so...
Yeah.
And maybe you should use a bow.
You cannot swim away from us.
If you can, at least. Because then you can sort of aim in the general direction.
Yeah. This would be a very cool level. The way he knocks your ship around is very cool.
Yeah, like that was the thing. You can't really aim.
The waters will
bounce around. Oh, you hit him.
How fragile humanity is compared to salt water and stone.
Smell your blood.
No, I just got got back up on there.
Obviously, he doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
A fresh
Can't imagine why.
Yeah.
The sea will wash over all things.
You are flying a lot in this place.
Yeah.
But at least you're making some progress.
Yeah.
It's
actually, it is actually, there's something about only being able to see, oh, thanks.
The legs of your foe.
Yeah, and the cursor for where my aim is, where my thing is aimed.
Yeah, that was it.
Are you able to see how many hit points he's on?
Yeah, he's down to about 2/3 or half. Yeah, I think he's down to a half so far.
This is my kingdom.
He is a salty old sea dog.
Yeah.
Oh, you jump a lot. Okay, you're almost done.
Oh, shit. And I'm out of healing potions.
But I think there should be some just floating around.
Yeah.
Seen them before. You just have to not die.
Yeah, okay. That's basically the game right there. Oh,
yeah.
What happened to my ship?
Wow.
That's a small barracuda.
The waters will reclaim all you have built.
Okay, Poseidon is almost ready.
With mercy, I am not.
His day is coming.
Oh, I got him with a hedge. Oh, there's
yeah.
the Splish splash. We'll try into Poseidon.
You get that.
Oh. Wrought in volcanic vents deep beneath the waves, the imposing three-pronged spearhead carries the formidable powers of the sea. Gale winds accompany the wielder, giving them sudden bursts of speed. Roll in midair, cool. Nice.
Yeah, I think he might be one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. Wee, that nice animation. And the destruction of the statue.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's obligatory.
Yep. All right. Well, it's been 2.5 hours of streaming, so I think it might be time to call it a day for this morning. Thank you so much for joining
And
us.
thank you. This was a lot of fun, and I really appreciated the occasion to talk about this.
No, this was awesome to get your insights on the game from a design perspective, and also as an expert of classical myth and what's going on in here. There were lots of cool things that I had seen little bits of, but then hadn't really thought deeply about, and other bits that I hadn't thought of at all. So this was wonderful.
And likewise, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you for watching the chat. As always, when somebody else is on, I'm not watching the chat as carefully, so it's good to have you doing that. I'll have to have a scroll back through and see how much sass I was getting for various things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for coming today, and thank you for all the work you put into this game. And if you're still in sort of regular touch with the team, you can pass on my appreciation for it as well.
Yeah, like it was just being given a big play box and just trying to do whatever you want with mythology, which was obviously, as you can imagine, great, and I really enjoyed.
I think it's the dream for a lot of people, sort of who are like subject experts, to get to do something like this, or even just
like one in a lifetime opportunity, really.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it won't be, and hopefully you are doing another.
Yeah,
one,
hopefully, you know, I'd love to do another game, you know.
Aren't you a consultant for an Egyptian game?
Yeah, I'm supposed to, but you know, well, the things are going really slow with that one. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do this anymore, because, well, the game is sort of like, you know, in a troubled place right now, so it's all very unclear at the moment with what's going on.
Well, I hope that does work out, because as you've written a book on Egypt, ancient Egypt, I would like to see your sort of contributions into a game, and that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but that's a different type of the game. This is city builder, so obviously, you know, well, my input wouldn't be so much about narratives, but about the practicalities. But even though, you know, I can contribute, and I do contribute a lot about the trade and the resources that could be mined and exploited in the game, but logic of creating it is very, very different from this kind of the game, where I was supposed to do the narrative basically, and here I have to do the nitty-gritty stuff of sort of designing the game and providing content for the creators. So the experience is really different. I'm learning a lot, but you know, it seems like it's a completely different world to me, and obviously, you know, this comes to a very different end. So I'm really interested to see whether this is going to happen and how it's going to develop in the future.
Yeah, different projects with totally different requirements. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. Well,
you always have to adapt.
What was that? Sorry.
Well, you always have to adapt to different.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you again for providing your insights, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, people.
I will do the next section probably sometime next week. I haven't got a time for that yet, but I'll advertise it in all the usual places, so stay tuned. And until then, see you later, and stay well and stay safe.
Stay safe, people. Bye.